I turned into one of those pages on Twitter, right? All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bayern Now, the ultimate Bayern Munich fan channel. All right, boys. It's time. All right. It's time. Thomas Tuchel is now our manager. Yes, we can complain about Julian Nagelsmann and cry, but it's time to talk about the system that Tuchel is bringing to Bayern. The players, the personnel, the tactics. I actually queued up Chelsea versus Real Madrid, the first leg. And honestly, Tuchel kind of had Zidane's number. I mean, yeah, that Real Madrid wasn't the same Real Madrid that won it the year after Chelsea did. But, I mean, they won it in 2021, the Champions League. I was going to watch the City game, but I feel like I watched that when it happened. It's different now because Tuchel's our coach. And now we're going to be talking about formations, tactics, how I think he's going to line up. Musiala, right wing back, boys. We're seeing it. It's happening. It's happening. Jamal Musiala is going to be playing right wing back, bruh. It's going to be a beauty to behold. I'm joking. I'm joking. Look, this is probably how it's going to look, okay? Musiala is the best right wing back in the world. No. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I did it to you guys. All right. Thomas Tuchel plays with a few different systems. At PSG, he had a back four, which wasn't really a back four, and I'll explain why. Let's put Mazraoui at right back, shall we? Okay. So Tuchel had this 4-2-2 sort of system, right? And let's put Chupo at striker. Let's move Musiala in here. And for the argument's sake, let's put Coman in here. And Mulla. Where's Thomas Mulla? There we go. Or it could be Leroy Sané. We don't know yet. He kind of had a 4-2-2 system, right? But what would happen is PSG in build-up, Marquinhos would come in here. Hey, how you guys liking this, man? I'm turning into a nerd. Marquinhos would come in here, and Verratti, the lone six, would be in this position. And the fullbacks would be high and wide. And, the midfielders would do their typical dropping, or I suppose not midfielders, but the two number 10s or 8s. I don't know who it's going to be. It could be Mulla, like here with Musiala cross, but I think he's going to go with Coman for the pace. And Mulla might play next to Chupo. So, Tuchel can play a back four, but it's not a typical back four, right? It's similar to what we already do, except, Goretzka or Marquinhos would drop here. And then Neymar would be in this pocket, and Kylian Mbappe would be here, and, always moving to ball side. PSG played very fluid, and it was fast. It was direct, just like Julian Nagelsmann's system. It was very direct. So let's move the players back to where, we think they're going to go. If he starts off with a back three immediately, let's be honest, it's going to look closer to a back five than a back three because Davies will have a lot more defensive responsibility. But, people say Tuchel adapted to Chelsea. His last system was genuinely a back three. So it was a 3-4-3 kind of formation. It looked similar to this, right? Maybe you didn't have him. You would have Pavard. If we're playing a back three, Pavard's going to be here because Lucas Hernandez is not fit. So it kind of looked like this, a 3-4-3. And instead of Mazraoui, I think he's going to go with Cancelo. And, Chupo is going to have to start. I think we kind of, played this thing with no strikers for a few weeks. And we had, remember that Mane Gnabry setup that we had at the beginning of the season? It was working fine. We're winning games, we're doing well. I'm not trying to see that no more because Mane, I'm not for it. So either that's Mulla or I think honestly, it's just going to look like this, right? A 3-4-3. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 7. Okay. Oh, bro, the math, man. The math wasn't mathing. All right. W format. Greetings from David Smith. Not ready for Tuchel terrorism. Well, we're here anyways, right? We're here. So if he's going for a back three, this is how it's going to look, right? It's going to look very much like this. I think Upamecano is going to kind of drop in here in build-up, and then De Ligt and Pavard will go out wide. And Upa is going to be kind of like, he's going to get a lot of ball responsibility. So I don't know why I didn't put Summer here, but let's go ahead and change that. Jan Summer will get the ball deep. It's going to be played to Pavard. Upa's going to drop. But the fullbacks, as always, will be high and wide. In Tuchel's system, fullbacks are really important, right? Fullbacks are super important. Or what he could do is get Cancelo kind of tucking into the midfield if it's like a game against Pep to build that superiority. And then Pavard kind of goes out wide in build-up. And then in the defensive structure, it goes back to being that normal back three. But, if it's like this, then I don't mind. It's a staggered back four with Davies and then Pavard, Cancelo coming inside. Actually, what I think could work is Mazraoui coming inside into that midfield. If you're trying to, because look, we're playing Pep in 16 days. Oh my gosh. Why is it so far away, but at the same time so close? So we're playing Pep in almost 2 weeks. We're going to need that midfield dominance, right? So I think Tuchel is going to go with a system that gives him the option to play a back three because he's a flexible manager. Just like Nagelsmann, they're both, really flexible tacticians. But I feel Tuchel is less susceptible to changing the system depending on the size of the game, right? So what you'll probably see against Man City is a back three with Pavard to start with. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but Mazraoui just had a really good performance for Morocco against Brazil. And I think he's like Tuchel might go towards starting him. But if he wants to be more offensive, then of course Cancelo is going to come into that position. And the buildup will look like what I was saying, where Cancelo tucks into the midfield because that superiority, right? City, who's City going to have in midfield? They're going to have, what's his name? Probably just Haaland as a striker, but around him it's going to be Foden. That's a number 10. He's not a winger, right? So he's going to be tucking into the midfield. They're going to have De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo Silva. Bro, they're going to have 4 midfielders. So to beat City, you really have to find a structure that works. He doesn't have to make Cancelo drop. He can make Kingsley Coman come out wide, which would make sense, and Davies come out wide, and Musiala gives us that central ball playing. He's going to, Goretzka, I feel, is going to manipulate the midfield lines a lot. He's going to drop sometimes, and maybe Pavard goes. Kimmich's going to be the lone 6. Typically, teams let the ball comfortable midfielder drop, but with Tuchel at PSG, let's kind of reset this back to where it needs to be. I feel like a tactical genius now, man. Hey, W's in chat for me being a tactical genius. Yeah, let's go back to that 4-3-4. But yeah, at PSG, let's move Pavard out of the way. Let's just go back to a back 4. Let's go back to that because I would prefer if we played similar to this. And let's get Thomas Muller in here, right? A 4-2-2 or 4-2-3-1, whatever it is, it's going to look it probably looks closer to this, right? But in game, Muller might get higher positions. But what you'll have with this system, and maybe it's not Muller, maybe we have Sané who gets back into form. We don't know, but we know he's going to go with what works. And this is the team that I feel works the most. Maybe Pavard. I'm putting Cancelo here because what will probably end up happening a lot in games with how he played at PSG. And that 2017 PSG team where Neymar had 1 billion goals and assists. I know the jokes with Musiala at right wing back. Guys, this guy played Neymar. Neymar was playing out of this world with Tuchel at PSG, and his team was really possession oriented, right? But in the build-up, what probably ends up happening, let's start an animation here, right? Oh crap. Never mind. No animations. But the ball will probably be like this, but Upamecano will go wide. De Ligt goes wide. Goretzka drops, but he doesn't drop like to get involved in the build-up. He just drops to draw the cover, and then Kimmich's going to be in this disguised position where he can make a run, gather the ball under pressure, turn, and then Musiala and Coman are around him. Like Tuchel, and then his fullbacks are obviously wide. Thomas Tuchel is a direct coach, man. I'm hoping we learn how to build out of the back with him. And also defensively, like when we're like defending, it was more of a crap. What do I remember it being? I mean, he had Neymar making some amazing defensive recoveries, but we will defend in a back four. Crap, man! I was watching the Chelsea game. I didn't watch the PSG game, but they defend in like a 4-4-2. Yes, a 4-4-2, where Musiala and Coman go out wide, and then the midfielders pick up their man. It's a very standard pressing structure, but the goal usually is to get the opponent in these vulnerable wide positions and then crowd them with the ball. And it's to maintain that numerical superiority when you're pressing, especially out wide. So Tuchel's fine with letting teams kind of, play around, like Man City could be. He doesn't want the teams playing through the middle, and that's similar to most coaches that try to get the ball back as quickly as possible. But he can let City get the ball to these regions. I really should have let's just put these blue players and pretend they're Man City. That's Ruben Diaz. That's John Stones. That's whoever City are going to play. That's Rodri. Let's just populate. That's Holland. That's Foden. That's whoever that is. Okay, so that's De Bruyne, right? It's not just City, but let's be honest. We're getting too cool for the purpose of winning the Champions League, right? What's up? I think Gravenberch would get more play time. Not off the bat, I don't think so. I want us to play like Liverpool. Hell nah, boy. What are you talking about? Play like Liverpool for? Hell no. By the way, hit the like button. We got 80 people watching, so if you guys could do me a favor, just hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. It's a weird time at Bayern, man. Like the other night, I was watching season 1 of Ted Lasso because I was just trying to finish. Dude, it's weird because I like the show a lot. And I watched it again, and I'm like, some of these jokes don't hit. It's because I've watched it so many times. But Ted Lasso, I was catching up, so the new season made sense. So the character development made sense. And, So, yeah, I was watching it, and it was 2 a.m. It was literally 2 a.m. And then I just thought to myself, damn, man, we sacked Nagelsmann. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was dreaming. I had to check Twitter again to know if it was real. So, with his pressing structure, it's going to be like very, very staggered. If City, because this guy, Rodri is going to be dropping in here, but let's say, the team we're playing is playing a 4-4-2. Let's just put it that way. They're playing a 4-4-2, right? A 6 and an 8. Then it makes more sense. But if it's City and they're playing that back three, Muller will probably drop, cover Rodri. Let's say they're playing a 3 in midfield. It doesn't really matter what the attack looks like. Pep could go with a back three as well. But, it would be Muller covers that shadow, and then Chupo will go out to whichever side the ball is. So if it's here, then it's going to look like this. Or actually, hold on. I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah, Davies is probably going to be pushing up, and then it's going to be Coman and Musiala, and then Chupo and Muller are going to be deep, and then just waiting to pounce and covering the lanes. Oh, man, I got confused. But all I'm saying, I shouldn't have added all these damn City players. Gosh. How do I just go back? Oh, nah, man. I can't even delete this as easily. I just want people to know that we're gonna look like we're playing a back three most of our games, even if we aren't. like defensively, we're going to be in a back three structure because Tuchel is more comfortable with that. Let's delete this ball here. If we were playing a right back, I feel like Mazraoui, he's going to get back into form, and he's more defensively like safe, right? He's a safer defensive option. But if we're playing a back three, which I predict we will, then Cancelo will be the wing back, and then Pavard will be playing right center back, and then Davies will be playing as the other wing back. Let's move Kingsley Coman out. And it's gonna be a 4-3-4 if we're playing a back three. I don't think it'll be any other thing. A 4-3-4, two midfielders. We're never gonna play a midfield three. They fired him because benching Sadio Mane. I don't know what we're talking about. I think Tuchel will face Pep with a back three because Pep plays also with a back three to get the midfield crowded. Yeah. So if we do line up like this, then you'll probably expect City to start with a lot of midfielders to get that numerical superiority, and for Cancelo to come inside in build-up. Right? Out of build-up, it's fine because you still have your back three, and then everyone goes back to normal. But Pavard will get wider, and I don't think we'll play with Muller with a back three because there's no pace like if we're playing with Cancelo on the inside. Tuchel's going to be flexible, man. He's not, he's not set on one way of playing. Pavard will come out wide and Upa will spread. And it kind of makes sense because Upa's more comfortable on the ball than all our center backs. And then Kingsley Coman will come out wide. And like I said, maybe Goretzka hugs those higher positions. Whereas at PSG, Goretzka would have been one of the players dropping deep. But he will hug, higher positions. Or what could happen is Cancelo gets in this half space right here and operates like an inside right back, and will come back almost like a midfielder. And we're going to see that a lot. I think we could be seeing a formation where our right wing back in possession he's going to be playing with a back four in possession because it's comfortable with how our players act. Pavard can act like a right back because he knows the position. And even if he doesn't act like a right back, just by going out wide, and staggering this, giving Davies, because I don't want Alphonso Davies not having the ability to track back. And I don't want De Ligt isolated. What we don't want is these regions right here. Like, we don't want De Ligt having to come outside and come out wide, and then Upa has to follow. And then we run the risk of City, because City like to isolate one side of the field, and then someone's making a run into a gazillion acres of space. So that's why I'm saying we need to make sure it's a staggered back four at least, where Davies knows I need to be coming back here. Because what if De Ligt makes a mistake? Then, we don't want Upa being the one to come across, because then there's space here for Haaland or for him to leave his marker. And City play a lot in the half pockets, don't they, right? City will play a lot in the half pockets. Why is this so focused on City? Well, because I know we're going to play the same system, but I'm just saying, the biggest team we're playing is City. And let's be honest, Tuchel's only here to win a Champions League. If we thought we could win it with Nagelsmann, he would still be here. But we think we can win it with Tuchel. So if we weren't interested in winning the Champions League, we could have just kept Nagelsmann, because there must have been a belief that we're still going to come back in the league, but maybe the Champions League is at risk because we're not beating teams comfortably. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. One of the problems with the back three is where De Ligt is. These balls in between the channels, right? Because Davies is so high, because that's his natural high position, De Ligt has to come out and be a left back. Whereas I feel if we go with a staggered back four where Pavard comes out wide and Cancelo is in the pocket in the build-up, right? Means Davies can quickly recover if he has to. And then we can move to a back three very quickly where Cancelo just drops. Coman can come back. But ideally, I want Kingsley to hug that touchline because he's so good at it. I'm turning into an El Tactico stan on Twitter. The formation is 3-5-1. Yeah, but we're playing. think about who we're playing. Any game against Man City is won or lost in the midfield. If you get outnumbered by even just one, you're going to struggle because City know how to play through teams. But if you have that one person that's always there, giving you the ability, really, but defensively, it's going to go back to normal, right? City do it too with inverted fullbacks. Maybe it's not even like this. Maybe it's going to look like this a lot of the games, right? It could be like Musiala coming out wide and Davies comes inside. But at every point in the game, we're going to need 3 men in the midfield, and it's always going to be one fullback, right? And the other side center back, the far side center back, then goes and covers the wide positions because City will eat you. And then having those forward midfield, Musiala can drop. Bro, I kid you not. Like by staggering the midfield, it's going to give space out wide. And I think we're going to have a lot of joy out wide because City's fullbacks are doo-doo. They got rid of Cancelo, and they aren't in the best position. So to start with, I think Tuchel's going to go with the simplest formation, a back three with Cancelo and Davies hugging those touch lines as fullbacks, and then Musiala and Kingsley Coman acting like the 10s on paper, but then they're going to be out wide. Foden's out for a few weeks. That's a huge miss for City. You're right, if he's out. Oh, here's another point that no one's bringing up. Leroy Sané could be interesting in a game like this. If it's Sané starting here, and we don't know, Tuchel could do a Kingsley Coman Sané, and what ends up being Pavard like in that position, and then it's a staggered back three, but Kingsley can track back. We have so many like things we can do. It's so crazy how flexible this team is. This is what it means to have squad depth. Just so much flexibility. But yeah, I think it's going to be Kingsley Coman. If Musiala isn't starting, like let's say it's against Dortmund. Against Dortmund, I think we're going to line up like this. It's so our players are used to it. God, man, we're going to line up in a back three. Against Dortmund, I think it's going to be this. Or if not Muller, it's going to be Sané. And by the way, so on Leroy Sané, guys, man, you got to stop believing build. Because I read a story this morning that Leroy Sané, his girlfriend, I'll read the story to you. You're not going to believe it, man. You guys are going to think, okay, so here's the first part of the story. Sané has not been at Sabana recently, although he wasn't called up to the national team. Sané flew to London at the beginning of the international break. He's been commuting between London, Manchester, and Munich for weeks. Sané's partner, Candice Brooke, no longer wants to live in Munich. This is what Bill is saying. And now lives in London and Manchester with their kids. Therefore, Sané wants to spend time with his family in England during the international break. Sané has been feeling lonely in Munich without his family. His urgent request to travel to England and see his loved ones was generously granted by the club. When asked by Bild, FC Bayern explained, Leroy trained individually in consultation with the coach last week. He was not obliged to be present at Sabana. Now, you guys are probably looking at this like, oh my gosh, Sané's leaving Bayern tomorrow. Well, it's Bild, which means there's a lie in there somewhere. And it of course, is true. It turns out, that Leroy Sané is only doing this, and you're not gonna believe it. You aren't gonna believe this, boys. Sané only does this. Oh, what the heck! By the way, we're only on 40 likes, man. Come on, hit the like button. Sané, his house in Grunwald, right, which is the rich part of Munich where our players live. I think, yeah, I think a lot of our players live in that area. It's like South Munich. I think there's it's richer. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting the neighborhoods mixed up. But their home, their house, no one lives there because it's under repair. Therefore, his wife is temporarily in England with their kids, but will permanently return to Munich as soon as possible. Sané currently lives in a hotel. And this is coming from Kerry Who, Sport 1. So while Bild is telling you Sané's wife hates Munich, she wants to leave, guess what? She's only in there because their house is under repair. And the bosses tell Sané, like, he can visit his family and he follows a personal trainer and will be back on Monday. Like, dog, what? The only reason his wife is in England right now isn't because she's trying to leave Bayern, but because their house is under repair. You can't live in a house that's under repair. And why would you repair a house if you didn't think you were going to live in it for a long time? And maybe she wanted to live in England because that's, where her friends were. But temporarily. And Bild's going to act like Sané's leaving tomorrow. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Leroy Sané doesn't deserve this because they're literally like, going after his wife, Candace Brooke. Is his wife or his girlfriend? I don't know. Same thing these days, huh? I don't know what, what I'd love in a rotation game, like after we play Man City or before, like where maybe we need to rest some players. I want to see Gravenberch. And I don't want to see Gravenberch play in Musiala's position. I want to see him play in Goretzka's position because they're both box to box. And that's how a manager trusts his players. Nagelsmann never trusted Gravenberch. He told him to simplify his game. And that's why Gravenberch, a player that's flamboyant, just wasn't trying to dribble out of pressure, just felt stiff because he was literally told to play defensive, play careful. And that's good for some players, but Gravenberch was never a careless footballer where he doesn't care about the ball. He loses it, he gets pressed and loses. No, he was actually very press resistant, and he has lost that edge. So I hope for, a lot of big reasons that we get that Gravenberch in midfield because he can be a real unit. Yes, he needs to learn the defensive nuances of being a midfielder, but he can't learn that by being on the bench, and definitely not by playing in those high positions. So, yeah, I hope there's a shift soon. I love how Chupo became undisputed in this team. But yeah, no, we need a striker, guys. Like, look at how many Champions League trophies Real Madrid have won. Ah, man. They always had a striker, but another position they had was Casemiro. Guys, imagine if Bayern had Casemiro. A Casemiro player. Real Madrid have Tchouaméni. Dude, Man United have Casemiro now. City have Rodri. Kimmich is not a defensive-minded CDM. He's a playmaker, a deep-line playmaker, right? He dictates the tempo of games, but he's not going to break play. Imagine if we had, because Tuchel would play a back four if he had a Marquinhos-esque player who reads the game. Maybe he plays Upamecano in that midfield and lets Kimmich be the lone DM. But I think that's something he can do in smaller games, not important games. He did it against Liverpool. Marquinhos would drop here, and then Verratti would be by himself in the midfield and turn and dribble through pressure. It was great at PSG against Liverpool. You guys remember that game? Kept PSG alive in the Champions League. Are we still getting Leimer? Yes, unfortunately. I don't rate Konrad Leimer. People ask me why. I watch Leipzig a lot, man. And yeah, it's too much. Oh my gosh. So there's this new quote from Davies, which is really like 2 years old, when he started doing live streams on Twitch. I have no family. My girlfriend doesn't live with me, and I probably have like 5 friends. I'm a popular loser. Come on, like Barstool. You guys are like 2 years late. This was like around COVID too. Davies doesn't mean this. Like, well, I mean, he has Musiala now. Like, of course, he's not as lonely as he was then. And he broke up with his girl, and he has a new girlfriend that lives in Munich. She's a German. Why am I doing this drama business, man? When did I become freaking Speed? Oh, I started watching Speed, man. That kid is so dumb. They're just bored. It's international break, so of course they come up with an old quote. But it makes it sound like, oh, he's just lonely at Bayern. No, he's not lonely. But by the way, like, I understand, like, he's a footballer and his life is different. But, people are saying, you're rich. Why are you sad? Just because someone's rich doesn't mean they don't have problems. Money doesn't solve problems. Yeah. Rhythm's right. Speed was flirting with. That's how I found out Fonzie had a new girlfriend. That's what I'm saying. The Speed guy. He just asked the most pressing questions we would want to know, but we wouldn't ask. But now I know Davies has a girlfriend. So yeah, these guys are wrong. Question: what do you guys think? Tuchel needs to use for his system. Honestly, I think I'm still not. I'm in disbelief. I still don't know if we signed him or not. I'm in disbelief, but I'm willing to give him the chance as long as he wins the Champions League. If he doesn't win it, you realize I'm going to be pissed. Rhythm says continue with the 4-2-3-1. So if we did play a 4-2-3-1, honestly, I'm only putting Pavard in here because it's obviously what we're going to do. But what is Pavard good at that Stanisic doesn't do, apart from volleys? I feel like Stanisic would be possibly a better. Look what he did to Mbappe in the second leg against PSG. He was flawless. He held his own easily. And he performs for Croatia in the World Cup. Okay, but let's say he goes with a back four. Mazraoui needs to be our right back if we're doing a back four because he's so solid defensively. But honestly, let's just say Cancelo because he's more in form. He just scored yesterday, and Mazraoui just came back from big injuries, so he still needs time to get into his rhythm. But let's say this is the back four we go with. And honestly, I'd love to go with this. It's a 4-2-3-1. It's going to be Muller, right? Honestly, I think we're overestimating Muller's the games Muller will start. I think Tuchel is going to want pace. And I think it might look closer to this. Sané in this 10. If one of the reasons the bosses sacked Nagelsmann was because of the lack of player development, is it also good to assert that Leroy Sané and Gnabry and Mane, not saying they're in the same category, and Gravenberch are also suffering? They're not developing. They don't have a consistent system. One of the benefits of someone like Pep Guardiola is, unless it's a Champions League game where he overthinks it, is how Pep's going to play. You just know, Pep's going to go with this system. His players are going to be passing the ball this way, and they're going to win or lose. Or that's it. There's never draws in City's games. They just win or lose. So that consistent system makes your players perform consistently. But when you're constantly changing it, a player that was playing well in one system might not play well in another system, and a player that was playing bad might play well. But if you have consistency and if you have management skills and you communicate with your players, you might take a player that, his name is Kai Havertz, who's not having a great season, and you make him, be an important part of your Champions League winning squad, or Timo Werner scores some goals when he's just trash. So maybe that's what Tuchel's going to be about, making our team function in a consistent system. I hope for Tuchel's sake he goes with a back four. I really do. Yes, especially in 2023. Yeah, every year. 2 seasons Nagelsmann has been here. It feels like we'll start well, and then have a few bad games, and because he changes the system, and then he goes back and goes to a new system, and then that works. He goes with it, and then reverts back to a back 4-3, and then it's like constant changes. Yeah. Tuchel has to win. Like, let's be honest, Thomas. He has a 2-year contract. He's not supposed to last. This is not gonna be a Tuchel era. This is gonna be 4 games, quarterfinals, semifinals, 5 potential UCL games, and he has to win all of them, or at least the majority, to win and get to the final and win it. I think it'll be a 3-4-2-1, which I just see that as a 3-4-3. But yeah, you're right. It is technically a 3-4-2-1. Mane, Guillermo thinks Mane will start. Yeah, nah, ain't no way Mane starts in this team. Sadio Mane is one of our underperforming players. I don't see him playing a big role. But yeah, it could be Sané. It could be Muller for the experience and just the conducting of the team, and Musiala in that left wing position. And I think Musiala is going to play a huge role. I think the same way Neymar played under Tuchel is going to be the same way Musiala is allowed to play. Freedom. He can drop here. He can go here. Musiala will have the freedom. He might even play right wing back. Neymar had so much freedom, but of course he had responsibility like pressing. I think Nagelsmann make players a little bit robotic, like predictable, I'm a Chelsea fan. With Thomas Tuchel, you're in safe hands, I assure you. There's a lot of Chelsea fans that, don't want Harry Potter anymore. They want Tuchel back. Tuchel ban. A 4-2-1-3. You mean a 4-2-3-1? Imagine if we played a 4 like this. This is what you just said we should play. A 4-2-1-3. Imagine, oh my gosh. Like they just get through your first wave of pressure. Bro, you would be cooked, because then every situation is like an 8 versus 8 situation. And then they take Muller out of it. And now it's 8v7. Yeah, no, you don't want that. Or 8v6, my bad. Tuchel played Sterling right wing back. Oh my gosh, man. Did he really do that? I don't remember any. I know Reece James played right wing back, but I don't remember Sterling. Did you watch our preseason game against City? City will outplay us if we play with a back 3 like that game. That's a good point. See, this is the problem with Bayern in a back 3. And I point this out almost every single day. But this is the problem when we play a back 3. Let's get Pavard back in here. Let me show you why I think us in a back 3 is a disadvantage defensively. So let's get Cancelo here. Let's get Muller out. And okay, here's my problem, right? So let's say I'm going to draw arrows. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's use some cones. No. Fine. Let's use the ball. Let's say Davies is caught high, right? Because that's his job, to be caught high, because he's a fullback. He's supposed to be up there, And let's say we counter press, right? Musiala goes in, Chupo goes in, Coman goes in, Cancelo goes in, Davies goes in, and Kimmich and Goretzka. The way Nagelsmann had us set up, Kimmich and Goretzka would literally be next to each other in the counter press, when really Goretzka should be back here and give Kimmich that cover, because one, he's faster and more physical. But here's the problem, right? Let's say they bypass us. Here was our problem with this back 3. One, now you're suffering in counterattack. If it's a 2v1, you're advantaged because you have one more. Like, even if Upa goes into no man's land, you still have 2, and it's 2 versus 2. But if it's 3v3, here's the problem with a 3v3 when you're suffering a counterattack. Okay, it's usually going to be, most counterattacks aren't like this. They're usually, one side, like they're never in the middle, like, where all your center counterattacks usually start with, the opponent gets the ball from you and you try to press, and one guy makes one pass, and now the ball's here, and then they make their fullbacks making a run, their midfielder and their attacker or their winger and striker, and then maybe one of their wingers is here, but he's not part of it because he's so far back. Here's the problem, right? Because this guy has the ball, the guy that has the ball is dangerous because he could really do anything. He could keep dragging you into the penalty box, and then you concede a penalty. Or, he makes that last pass, and if you're not close to him, he's going to make a pass that works, right? Let me just let's say these are your opponents. These guys are counterattacking you, right? So this guy's on the ball. It's weird seeing a number 1 on the ball. And then these guys are running. So it's a 3v3. That's how most counterattacks are. So now this guy's job, the lit has to go. Because what did I just say? If this guy's let free, he could just run, and what our center backs are jockeying, coming back. And then one of these guys could come here, and this guy comes in. That's a chance. And if Kimmich is not here to cover, he shoots open. Upa has to block. But what if he dribbles Upa? See, that's the problem, right? Someone has to close the first guy down. I have to delete this number 1 because it feels weird having. Okay, good. And now it's normal numbers, right? I hate seeing number 1s anywhere else but in goal. Can anyone be a number 1 if they're not a goalkeeper? Yeah, that's just weird, right? Okay, so counterattack, right? Your players, Pavard and Upa, are going to try their best to stick tight, but move back and try to cut out the angles that they could pass by. This guy has the ball. De Ligt has to go. He has to go here and close him down. Now, let's say maybe in some scenarios, like maybe 5 times out of 10, De Ligt makes something happen. He can foul this guy. If he fouls him, it's a yellow card. It's always going to be a yellow. But the problem is this guy runs across Upa, and because he's running backwards, you're not going to be faster running back. You're not just going to turn around and start running. This guy's running forward, right? His momentum's here. Upa's momentum is to be aware of what's happening in front of him. So he's constantly looking, checking. So he's literally doing backwards run while this guy's running forward. So he's going to be faster, and he runs across Upa. All this guy has to do is pass here. Now, here's the freaking new problem with the back 3. Upa has to come across. And guess what? This is why the back 3 sucks. De Ligt's completely out of the game. Because what's this guy going to do? Because this guy just passed to this guy, he's going to start making a run across. De Ligt has to now turn his ball. It happens to us so many times, we just don't even think about it. Now De Ligt's behind him, and now Upa's going to try to block him, and this guy's going to take him across. And what's happening? This guy starts making a run to the near post, and we all know, we've seen this happen with Bayern so many times. He just sends, what am I doing with this freaking crossing thing? He just sends a time cross. Let me. Why is the angle all weird? This guy just sends a cross in, and it's a tap in. You guys see what I'm talking about? Or this guy comes in, and De Ligt tries to slide him and cut out the cross, and that's why the back 3 draws out players. And whenever you're in a counter-attacking situation, it seems more defensively sure, but it's not. Now, let's move to a back 4 and say it's Cancelo that was here, and Pavard's out. Let's bring Muller in here, right? Let's say we were pressing in a back 4. First of all, we would never press with our fullbacks that high because there's this thought that we need to be defensively responsible. So let's say we do press with a back 4. Search De Ligt and Upamecano because that's realistic. Excited to see Bayern and the Tuchel. So long, Nagelsmann. God, man, Detroit Rock City doesn't like Nagelsmann. Okay, but let's say back 4, Chupo goes, Musiala goes, Muller goes. We get caught in a counterattack, right? I feel like one of Goretzka or Kimmich will know we don't have 3 center backs, so they'll be reserved, right? Goretzka will reserve himself. And let's say we tried to crowd the opponent, but you see where your fullbacks are? Instead of being here, they're here, like in the middle, because there needs to be balance. That's the understood part of a counterattack. Now, let's say the opponent manages to break free. This is typically how we defend with our fullbacks. Davies is always kind of going to be here, right? And that's how he makes these runs to recover. Now, let's get back to our opponents, right? We're in a back four. We're defending a similar scenario, and it's 3v3 again. Okay. See, do you see how, like, we're going to be playing higher, but maybe Cancelo's inside because the ball's on this side. But the opponent manages to break free, and this guy has the ball. And maybe this guy's here, and this guy's here, and his choice is here, right? Let's say Davies closes him down. Just follow along here, right? We're in the back four. He closes him down. He passes this ball down the line. De Ligt goes across, right? And now, instead of like Upa coming across, Upa can kind of, of course, come in. But now Cancelo rushes back, right, on the inside. Maybe they have a guy out wide here. That doesn't matter. It's a 3v3 counterattack. But because Davies was here, this guy didn't just have the ability to carry the ball through our midfield. He was closed down, and he's taken out of the game. Now it's 2v2. So he gets it across. This guy here, De Ligt follows. It's the same situation. But instead of two people in this zone, right, instead it's this guy. And Goretzka's tracking him, right? And now it's like, do you see how much more stable I feel like a back? It's not even me making this up. This is literally what happens with us in a back four. So the only times we concede in a back four is when they do have numbers, right? They have a few guys forward and they're attacking us, and but usually if it's a 3v3 in a back four, it's different than a 3v3 in a back three. Literally. Oh shoot, what did I just do? I just deleted Goretzka. No. I just deleted Goretzka. We're more stable, that's all I'm saying. That's what happens when you play FM, man. Football Manager. You get into a nerd. I'm out here stressed, man. We need a back four, man. We need to play a back four. I had to watch a freaking old Tuchel game just to figure out how this freaking weirdo plays. But yeah, that's why I want a back four. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see what happens with Thomas Tuchel as manager. You all know me. I want my back four. I think it's our players' personnel fits it. We don't have a CDM, so we need a formation that gives us two right backs, or one right back and one left back, to track back, and we need a responsible formation. We need Goretzka to know I need to act more like a CDM. But when you have an extra center back, what that gives you as a midfielder is an incentive to just go wandering forward. And even if your manager tells you not to, you kind of, come on, Pavard's right there, Upa's right there, and De Ligt's right there. We got three people at the back, we're fine. And then, it's all sorts of crap. But yeah, we do need a midfielder like Rodri. We need one badly. But yeah, man, subscribe, hit the like button. By the way, I'm going to be live with Hugh from the Big Six. So that should be fun. The City fan on the Big Six. Tomorrow, that's going to be 7 p.m. British Standard Time. I'm guessing that's 8 p.m. Germany time. I don't know if he confirmed that I'm going on his channel yet, but Hugh's going to be a fun time, man. No, Tuesday then. Okay. All right. Never mind. It's going to be Tuesday instead. It's going to be Tuesday, 7 p.m. British time. Okay, I guess something came up. He just texted me and said Tuesday. Yeah, man. I DM'd him on Instagram, and he replied, really cool guy. He just said, yeah, let's do it. And I think we'll do one on his channel. But yeah, man, we're going to cook City. We're going to cook them. Thomas Tuchel ban. The terrorism will come. We will be terrorists to City. Saul York Peter says, your prediction for the Dortmund game. Okay, I really don't do score predictions on this channel, but I believe we will win. New manager bounce. It's coming. New manager bounce. We'll have a new manager bounce. I think, look, Dortmund are in a purple patch. I still don't believe Terzic is a capable manager. He doesn't have the capacities. The way Dortmund played against the Chelsea team that was 10th, it was disgraceful. Chelsea created chance after chance, and yeah, I don't know. He won't do anything against Tuchel. I think Tuchel will have his number tactically. So, yeah. As per his entourage, Thomas Tuchel feels he hit the jackpot by joining Bayern. The team, the place, everything fits into place for him. Tuchel also sees himself more mature and experienced after his experiences at PSG and Chelsea than in 2018 when Bayern wanted him. We've been wanting Tuchel for a long time. But I feel like, we signed Niko Kovac, right? After Don Jupp Heynckes left us, the big Don. And then Kovac, and then we got Hansi Flick. But we were going to get Erik Ten Hag, but Ten Hag's not on the market for at least, 2 or 3 more years. Ten Hag, his dream is to coach Bayern because, he said it. Like, he always wanted to come back to Bayern. So maybe we'll get Ten Hag one day. But considering Tuchel will probably be sacked, because maybe we win the treble, and then next season we're stinking it out, because that's how Tuchel teams normally go. I hope he stays here and succeeds. I'm never going to wish ill on him. I just wish the circumstances didn't come around Nagelsmann getting sacked, in my opinion, unfairly. But what do you guys think? Who do you guys think should be our next manager after Tuchel? And maybe that manager doesn't exist. Maybe we need, because football changes every 2 years. People, literally, 2 years ago, everyone was like, there's no strikers anymore. Now there's like 50 strikers. Kane, Osimhen. You could go for, there's so many options. Colomwani. There's options, right? Football changes very quickly. So don't ever be so sure that we'll never see a good goalkeeper. Dog, it just takes one season from some random kid who's 19 breaking out, and now he's like the next big thing, right? Everyone said, there's no midfielders like Casemiro. Chouameni comes out. There's no CDMs. Football goes in cycles. People just think we're never going to replace Neuer. Trust me, we will, because we have the structure in place to do it. We'll never replace Muller. I think we just buy Florian Wirtz. But one thing I need Tuchel to do is something Nagelsmann didn't do, and that's develop the young players. And not by just loaning them out, because that's just, that's a cheat code to develop me. You need to take your time and give them playtime. Vane29 with the super chat. In my opinion, Mazraoui has to start if we play back four. Me too. All right. Diego Costo, Klopp. You guys want Klopp at Bayern? Someone said Thomas Muller. Muller will probably be a manager. I feel like Thomas Muller has the temperament to be a Bayern president. Not a CEO, because CEOs actually need to, I don't know, maybe I never thought Oliver Kahn would develop that business aspect of his life, but he did. So maybe he could become, Muller could learn that business aspect. Selling horse semen ain't gonna cut it. You need to have a business, have experience in running operations and having employees, dealing with stress, making decisions. So I don't think Muller will be a CEO, but I can see Thomas Muller being a club president. He's Bayern, Bayern we just marry each other. We're a perfect couple, Bayern and Thomas Muller. So he could be a president, but he could also be a manager. That's the easiest thing I can put out. But at the same time, I feel like Muller, he doesn't signal to me that he wants to get into it immediately. So I like that Philipp Lahm is finally getting back into the rhythm of football. He's the German ambassador for the 2024 Euros. So, it means he's having more opinions, reaching headlines more. I think he recently had something to say about, was it PSG? Yeah, I'd love to see Philipp Lahm back at Bayern, maybe as a coach, or part of the board. But you need serious accolades to get on the board and serious football knowledge. Look at Bastian Schweinsteiger. He's a great player, but he doesn't know ball, man. Schweinsteiger, he thinks City's gonna beat us. Maybe that's just his jinxing power, but I doubt it. Schweinsteiger has had some terrible ball opinions. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Oh, Frank Ribéry. I just know he's gonna stink as a manager because the best players never make the best managers. Look at the managers that are like crazy good. Klopp, was he some bowler? No. Nagelsmann, was he a bowler? No. Simeone, he was just he's not even that great of a tactician, but he was a decent player. I mean, Pep was decent. He has an icon card in FIFA, so Pep was a decent player. I never watched him, but he wasn't like. It's funny because Pep was a raw, macho man player, getting into tackles. Nothing like the types of players he coaches, however, right? So I think players that become managers are players that some sat on the bench a lot. Some of them just really weren't that great. Like Ribéry is just pure talent, which makes me feel like, he might not have that tactical brain because he never needed it. He just had his ability. He was just him always. He was just Frank Ribéry, So it's the only world-class player that became a great manager was Zidane. Look at Maradona, sucked as a manager. One of the greats, but doo-doo as a coach. I don't expect Ribéry to become a great manager. I think if anyone were to become a great manager, I feel like Javi Martinez is underrated. Xabi Alonso, maybe we'll see. For now, a verdict is still out, but he could be playing some decent football. No, Leverkusen, I don't know. We'll see what Xabi Alonso does. But I think Javi Martinez needs to get into coaching. I feel like his brain would work for it. He just, I don't know. I feel like he could do it, man. It's always the players you least expect, and they become great coaches. In our team right now, everyone's thinking Kimmich's going to be a manager one day. But I think Kingsley Coman has that. He might have such a lack of football IQ on the pitch that all his football IQ will be reserved for a manager. Maybe not Kimmich. That's probably a bad example. Chupo might be a decent manager. It's just players you don't expect. De Ligt, for sure. I think De Ligt's going to have a team. His team's just going to be passion and desire, Tuchel better than Zidane. Yeah, I think we got it better. I do pray Ribéry becomes a great manager because imagine if he comes here, man. We would cook. Imagine Ribéry. We would just, man. Look at Ten Hag. We need Ribéry to just take everything he learned from Pep and Ancelotti and just put them all into one team. I think he's a player coach, right? Or not player coach, like an assistant, but I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Let me read it. Let me read exactly what his job is right now. Frank Ribéry is currently a technical coach. Yeah, I mean, he was a technical bowler, man. They really compared Mane to Ribéry. These Liverpool fans will pay for their crimes, man. Crimes against humanity. Thank you all so much for watching. Mia, and peace.